I just wanted to quickly post about something that's completely unrelated. Obviously I wanted to give you guys a full body shot because I plan to do those in pretty much all my videos. It's probably just a nice way for everyone to keep up with how I'm looking, but this is going to be something a little bit special because I want to talk to you about what I'm wearing, not the top. Okay, what? These black shorts. Yeah, I know they look a little bit tight. They are tight, but they're actually not as tight as a few days ago. Like literally, this was pretty hilariously tight. And so anyway, what was I trying to say? Totally lost the point. Okay, so last time I posted on Instagram about these shorts, I was super ecstatic, really happy with myself, because these are the pair of shorts I brought when I was at my most skinniest. I think I was a size 12, which is shocking because to me, I'm going shopping today, but I haven't bought any real clothes apart from like activewear in I don't know, years. And so maybe I should, no, I'll carry on. Okay, so what was I saying? Okay, so and then and I remember these significantly because I wore these to Turkey, and that's when I was most skinniest. And how I got down to a size 12, because I think originally I was like a 16 or an 18, was I did juice fasting. Anyway, the significance of these shorts is I remember wearing these comfortably with a pair of like leggings underneath, and I'd wear boots with them. I don't know if that sounds weird to you. Look, I thought it looked quite nice. And I remember wearing these to go and buy my second car when my boyfriend was buying his first car. So it was just pretty insane because I don't know, to me it was very special. He doesn't even remember them, but to me it's special anyway. And then I was devastated when I couldn't fit into them not long later, because we got into a relationship. Obviously I got a bit too happy with myself and started eating, and then sooner or later it stopped fitting. But now when I discovered the other day that I packed these away, and I just insisted that I don't throw them, and so when I found them again, I just thought, oh, what the hell, I'll see how far I've got to go. And I could get into them. When I got really fat, I couldn't even put my thighs through the leg holes, and now I can. So I cannot tell you how ecstatic I am. Dodgy wet patch. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about different foods that I eat on a daily basis according to my macros. So just a quick brief run through on what macros are. Basically, they are your macronutrients, and it's something that people on flexible dieting plans look at extensively, and as well as calories. So basically, a lot of us will use apps like MyFitnessPal. I think there's one called My Macros or something, and you can calculate your macronutrients and which are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats, which should equal your calories. And by doing that, you can fit different types of foods and have more of a variety in your diet. So as long as you do a lot of planning and yeah, and it just means that your diet is a bit more flexible, but you do learn a lot about the things that you're actually putting in your mouth, and you have to read a lot of labels. And it sounds very extensive, but actually for me it's a complete well, in a lot of ways, it's a complete revelation. So the things that I've noticed a lot, being a part of If It Fit Your Macro forums and things like that, is that a lot of beginners don't know quite how to fit all of their macros into things. And one of the biggest downfalls is that people do not plan in advance well enough. I know that even when I don't plan, say for example, I was too busy the night before, or maybe we have like a weekend of not really sure what we're doing, I go off track a lot quicker, and it does make life a bit more difficult. That's not to say that you can't do it. You do have to be very switched on about what your go-to food groups and food items are, which is exactly what I wanted to talk about in this video. So for example, a lot of people find that maybe they've eaten all of their foods for the day that they were gonna eat, or that they happen to eat and they're like, oh, you know, I cannot fit all the I've still got like, I don't know, 50 grams of fats to go, or you know, or I'm missing 20 grams of protein. And then, or some people are like, I just cannot bear to eat any more carbs. I just don't know how I'm gonna fit any more carbs in. And I think that's the problem, is that because you didn't plan, you couldn't work it into your diet, so that towards the end of the day you have to literally eat a thing of butter and or oil or whatever in order to not go above in your other macros. So as well as planning, it's very important that you know what your go-to food sources are for each macro, and start working from there. So everyone should have like a mental or a physical cheat list of what your go-to carbs are, what your go-to proteins are, what your go-to fats are, and then work that into your diet, work that into your recipes. And for me, the night before, I will sit there and plan my food for the day, for the next day. So as well as meal prepping, I'll meal prep my foods, log them in as a recipe, and then I'll just go bam, I'm having that for lunch. So the macros are already calculated. I'm going to show you all of the things that I do eat on a regular basis, and they are just the things that I'm going to show you. The physical props I'm showing you are just representations of things that I eat. So I'm going to go through them, and hopefully you'll find this video useful when you are flexible dieting and you're needing ideas of how to, you know, get those macronutrients in. So one of the main sources of carbs that I fit into my diet are oats, and this is just my container of oats. I tried to get rolled oats, but to be honest, I'm not that fussed as long as it's plain and it doesn't have the added sugars or flavorings or whatever. So I just use these as part of a huge carb hit. And I don't have oats every day. I'm just saying that this is one of the things that I eat in like overnight oats or porridge or smoothies, which I don't do very often, but I would if I could. So talking about smoothies, I do have a bit of fruit. I don't have too much fruit because again, fruit is sugar and fruit is carbs, and I don't have anything against sugar. It's just that I limit it as much as possible because I know that I have a bit of a sugar addiction. I do have a bit of fruit every now and then, and they come in the source of maybe bananas. So I eat bananas fairly often. I have them with my oats. Sometimes I'll put them in protein pancakes or things like that. I purposely go out of my way to pick ones that are neither too big or too small. Sometimes when they're too, I'd rather go small than big, because sometimes you can get like massive bananas, and ginormous bananas just are destined to be cut in half and put in the freezer. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just a faff. So I pick kind of like medium-sized bananas. They wind up to be about 110, 20 grams once you take off the peel, and that's usually all right for me. Again, that's about trial and error. And other fruits that I buy, I will buy some apples maybe every now and then. I do like, you know, get something special like raspberries or whatever, but often, more often than not, I get frozen fruit. So this is a bag of blueberries from Costco, and they are massive, but again, these are really good to put in oats smoothies if you really wanted to. And something that I came across yesterday that I haven't opened, haven't tried, are frozen pomegranate seeds that you can get from Tesco. And that's because I know how to open pomegranates and no one's got time for that. So this is really good. I plan to sprinkle these a bit on a salad. So again, it's just a way of making some things interesting. And as well as fresh and frozen, of course, we have dried fruit. So I don't know why I need to show you dried fruit, but dried fruit comes in all different varieties. I literally use a tiny sprinkle, and I bought these for like a carrot cake oats recipe, and they work very well. But again, high in carbs, high in sugar, use sparingly and enjoy them. So as well as fruit, vegetables are also a very good source of carbohydrates, and I prefer to pick vegetables as my source of carbs over anything else because it means I get the essential micronutrients, and then after that I like to pick things like whole grain, things like oats, or maybe like a rye bread, which I'll show you later. But frozen vegetables or fresh vegetables are very good. Frozen vegetables like this that are in the steam bags are going to be convenient and actually just as nutritious, so you know, they are a good, you know, option. And salads and stuff, I always have salady things. So again, even though some people might get very confused and say, well, it's a vegetable, it's actually a source of carbohydrates, and a very good one at that. So if you're wondering how to get more carbs into your diet, vegetables is probably a good start. So I touched on rye bread just now, and I do eat breads generally. Mike likes to eat regular bread, or maybe we get protein bread. But the one that I have at the moment is my favorite, Biona's rye bread with pumpkin seeds. It's just my all-time favorite. But these are not only seriously high in carbs for me, it's also very high in fiber, so it's kind of like a give or take thing. Some days I have it because it's a very good boost of fiber. Okay, so as you know, being Asian, we're very into like noodles and rice. I don't have too much rice. Rice is like one of my treat things, so it's one of those things that because I love it so much, I'm very addicted to it. So I won't eat rice on a daily, but I do have it as a treat. And same goes for noodles, rice noodles, wheat noodles, pasta. It's all like my jam, but I try not to have them on a daily basis. But what I do have are these slim noodles. Actually, I've been eating these kind of like slim noodles since we were kids. We know them as like shirataki noodles that you can get in Asian stores, and we use them for hot pots and stuff. But now they've all come onto the mass market, and they've been like, you know, labeled slim noodles because they have like very little calorie. But actually some of them do have a good amount of carbs. So this one, slim noodles, doesn't. I didn't even realize that. But I bought slim pasta, and this one has a bit more because I think it uses tapioca starch, and that's how it gets like a really good texture. I had these the other day fried. Oh, so nice. And these have like 8.4 grams of carbs for 100 grams. So if you eat the whole packet, which I generally do because who's gonna eat half a packet, it's like, you know, 17 grams of carbs. So actually it's, even though calories are low, for the whole packet it's about 70 calories, but there are a substantial amount of carbs. So do read your labels. So now we're going to move on to fats, and I have a lot of variety of fats because I love fats. Fats make me feel satiated, and they make your food more interesting. They're very good for hormone production in your skin. I wanted to go through some fat items because we've just done carbs as well, so I'll kind of move on to some of that stuff that does have a lot of carbs as well. So this is coconut manna. Coconut manna is basically coconut butter, which is kind of like, I think mostly it's like the fiber and the flesh pulverized. It's made from pure dried coconut. You can actually make this yourself. I used to make this myself, but it says it's pureed coconut. Oh, it's the best stuff ever. But like for 100 grams, you're looking at about 64 grams of carbs. And you're looking, sorry, 64 grams of fat, and you're looking at about 25 grams of carbs. So even though you look at this and you think, ah, it's really high in fat, you have to look properly because there will also be carbs in it. So it's not a pure source of fat, but it is a good source of fat. So there's that. And also things like nut butters. So I have a whole earth crunchy peanut butter. I also use almond butter or all the other butters. 100 grams gives you 54 grams of fat. So, you know, proportionally it's quite a lot of fat considering that the carbs is 7.4 grams of carbs, but that's not to say that there are 0 carbs. So it is a good source of fats, but if you have no carbs left, then I wouldn't go for. Obviously, one of my favorite fats is actually grass-fed butter. You don't have to use grass-fed butter, but it's you know, it's gonna be the best stuff for you, really, and it's the most pure. And you can get Kerrygold very easily in England, I believe. I see it everywhere. I use this mostly in my fat coffees. I don't really do much. Oh, and I use it to cook. In the same kind of family. I do the same thing with coconut oil. Coconut oil is, again, pure fat because it's an oil, as the same with avocado oil, sesame oil, and olive oil. So those are just like a few of the oils that I use kind of like on rotation daily. But I like coconut oil a lot because I use it in coffees, I use it in frying, roasting, cooking. Olive oil I'll use in salads. Avocado oil I can also use for kind of like light, gentle frying, and sesame oil I literally just like anything Asian, I'll put sesame oil on it. And sesame oil is incredibly good for your bones and very good for your skin. So that's definitely a good way to get your fats in. I also have cacao butter. Cacao butter is completely unnecessary things unless you are avoiding items like butter, because it's not that easy to get. It's very expensive. I've bought them in bulk, and this is like, it takes me ages to get through one of these, but I use them in coffees. And if you make fat bombs, or if you make your own chocolates, desserts or whatever, then you may find this useful. But for, you know, your average Joe, your average person who just wants to lose a bit of weight, this is not a necessary product, but it is something that I have on hand. So I also have full fat coconut milk. This is one of my favorite brands, ROD. You need to find one where you open it and there's like a layer of like coconut fat. And that is the really good stuff. I put this again in coffees and coconut curries and things like that, and they're very handy when you can get them in small little tins like this. So that's a representation of all of the oils and things like that. You can also get your fats from things like olive, cook them with chicken or whatever. Again, very good source of fats, and because they're very salty, you can chop them up and put them in your food and you don't have to add as much salt. So that's another tip. I also have like supplementation oils, so I use Keto Performance Pure MCT oil. But so when I like really don't want to eat anymore, I may just like have a spoonful of this. As the same with something like the Nordic oil. This is a fish oil. It's actually a high-grade omega-3 oil, 100% triple filtered, ultra purified omega-3 sardine, anchovy and herring oil, and it's lemon flavor. And other things will be like nuts and seeds. So nuts, I have like literally a whole drawer of frozen nuts in the freezer. Hemp hearts, I have like, this fall, I swear to you, this fall, the beginning of the year, and it's just pure chia seeds. And chia seeds I think I probably eat like every day, as well as something very dear to my heart, sesame seeds. So let them be black sesame seeds or toasted white sesame seeds. These are the toasted variety. So as well as all of these items, you can also get your fats from fatty fishes like anchovies, salmon, mackerel, sardines, things like that. I incorporate into my diet at least once a week. So the last macro we're going to talk about are proteins, and it's one of those major macros that people are very concerned about, because proteins help the repair of muscles. Having a higher protein diet keeps you satiated for longer and helps keep you trim. For me, protein has been a huge help in my diet, so that's just me personally. I get my protein in different ways. Like I said before, certain things that may have lots of fats also have proteins as well. So you've got to have a balance of how you want to eat your proteins. So I don't have any physical steaks or chicken breasts here because I kind of meal prep them, and I don't have anything to show you. But basically there isn't really a meat that I don't eat. So I have a variation. And obviously it depends, I just vary it from week to week. Other protein sources that I'll have during the week are things like smoked salmon, and smoked salmon is high in fat and protein, so it's one of those things that you can hit both with. I also eat tofu. Just because I eat a lot of meat doesn't mean that I don't eat tofu. I'm Asian, so we eat a lot of tofu. I like this brand. You can get this in Sainsbury's, but no, you can get it in Tesco's. But actually any tofu is good. I sometimes use silken tofu for desserts, or even stir-fry dishes. Silken tofu is the stuff that you can get like in a Tetra box, and you don't have to fridge them. Those are very good. I also use things like beans. Black beans are very good for things like black bean brownies, but you can add them into like soups or salads. Very good for Mexican bowls. So beans are a very good source of protein, but they can be quite carby. Now we're going to move on to dairy items. So one of the things I found recently are quark, I think that's how you say it, quark cheeses. And to be honest, if I'm being very honest with you, I've never had these up until yesterday. You can see on it, it says high protein. You can't see. Okay, that will do. High protein, reduced sugar. This one is a vanilla flavor, and this one is original. And basically, it says it's spoonable cheeses. The recommendation is to put these inside chocolate muffins. This one tells you to mix it into like an Italian chicken. So basically, what it's very similar to is maybe a cross between a cream cheese and a yogurt. And so they are very high in protein. 100 grams, which is about a third or so of the pot, gives you 89 calories, so it's not very high in calories. Gives you 10 grams of protein and 11 grams of carbs. So I do eat things like blue cheese or any other cheeses. I happened to have cottage cheese. Actually, I bought this specifically for the video because cottage cheese is very useful because you can get like it's naturally lower in fat, but you can even get light versions, and these are very good in protein pancakes or, you know, in salads. Sometimes I mix, like, instead of mayonnaise and stuff like that for my sandwiches, I'll get cottage cheese and say shredded chicken, and I'll mix that up together. I'll flavor it with lots of like herbs and garlic salt, garlic powder, pepper or whatever like that, and then so like you don't have to eat like so much mayonnaise, and you can have like a leaner protein in there. And whilst we're on the topic of dairies, I also use yogurt, and we have this at breakfast. I'll have it with my homemade granola, and I like to buy these Skyr, I think it's how you pronounce it, Skyr, yeah, Skyr yogurts, Icelandic style yogurt, which happens to be very high in protein. A third of the pot gives you 98 calories, so not a great deal of calories at all, and 0.3 grams of fat, so it's very low in fat, 6 grams of carbs, but it gives you a whopping 16 grams of protein. I also like to use these protein plant-based noodles that you can get from Explore Asian. These are organic edamame and mung bean fettuccinis. You can get black bean noodles, you can get soybean noodles and soybean spaghetti, I think it is. They have a huge amount of protein in them. 100 grams, which I think, yeah, it's half the bag. So half a bag gives you like a lot of noodles. You're looking at about 47 grams of protein, which you would never get from a sort of general regular pasta. So I really highly recommend this if you're really into pastas but you're trying to go lower in carb or higher in protein. Beef jerky, I like to have a little beef jerky every now and then as a snack. This is a very good brand, it's King's. I get it from Costco. They're not the cheapest things to buy. Beef jerky generally isn't, especially a good quality ones. But for example, a 25 gram portion is 72 calories, so it's not too bad actually for a snack. 5 grams of carbs, but gives you 9 grams of protein and 1.4 grams of fat, so it's not bad. It's very high in protein. I also like to supplement with collagen hydrolysate. I can't say that without looking at the word, but this is Great Lakes gelatin, and I almost finished this. I'm gonna try a different brand later, but basically this is what it looks like. It's just a white powder, and I use these in my coffees and drink, sometimes I make like a matcha latte and put this in. It doesn't have a flavor, it dissolves very nicely into hot or cold liquids. So this has a considerable amount of protein in it per serving, gives you 43 calories, 11 grams of protein. So it's a nice protein booster, and of course collagen has other benefits. The reason why I take it is for my bones and whatnot. Very good for the hair as well. Talking about powders, of course there are your protein powders. Most people who are into fitness will be taking some form of protein powder, most likely. So that concludes the video. I hope you found that useful and you got something out of it. I know it was fairly long-winded and there was a lot of information, but for the beginners out there, for people who are struggling on the whole macro thing, I really hope that that was useful and that you got an insight on the kind of things that I've been eating to lose weight. In my next video, I hopefully will be unpackaging, like unboxing a muscle food package that's going to be coming to me soon. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, stay tuned, and if you have any comments, do put them down below. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Hang with Miss Pang, and I'll see you somewhere else on the internet world. Bye bye.